My son had access to my pension account for one reason. I'd had a small stroke. Nothing serious, the doctor said. But my hands shook when I tried to type. My vision blurred at screens. For 3 months, I needed help managing the simple things. Online banking, bill payments, keeping track of what came in and what went out. Daniel volunteered immediately. Dad, let me handle it. That's what family is for. You just focus on getting better. He was my only child. I trusted him completely. What Daniel didn't know was that I'd kept a notebook for 41 years. Every pension deposit, every withdrawal, every transfer, date, amount, balance, written in the same black composition notebook I'd used since 1985. Old habit from my accounting days. It would turn out to be the most important habit of my life. I retired at 67 after 40 years as a civil engineer. My pension wasn't extravagant, $4,200 a month. But it was mine, earned over 4 decades of early mornings and late nights. I'd also saved carefully. A modest investment account, about $240,000. My emergency fund. My comfort. The thing that let me sleep at night. After my stroke, Daniel set up access to everything. Online banking. Investment account. The works. I'll just pay your bills and make sure everything stays on track, he said. You don't need the stress. He was attentive those first weeks. Visited every few days. Brought groceries. Sat with me while I did my physical therapy exercises. I thought this is what I raised him to be. Then my hands steadied. My vision cleared. The doctors said I was 90% recovered. I can take back the accounts now, I told Daniel at dinner one evening. He smiled. Of course. No rush though. I don't mind. I mind, I said. I like knowing my own finances. He changed the subject. Brought up my grandchildren. Asked about my golf game. I let it go. Just for a few more weeks, I thought. That was my mistake. 6 weeks later, I sat down with my notebook. Every month for 41 years, I'd written the same entry. Pension deposit received, current balance, any withdrawals or bills paid. I opened my laptop. Logged into the bank account Daniel had set up for me. The balance was $41,000. I turned back to my notebook. 8 weeks ago, before my stroke, the balance had been $263,000. I checked the number 3 times. $222,000. Gone in 8 weeks. My hands weren't shaking from the stroke anymore. They were shaking from something else entirely. I went through every transaction line by line. Transfers to an account I didn't recognize. $5,000 here. $8,000 there. $12,000 on a Tuesday afternoon. $9,000 the following Friday. Always just under $10,000. I knew why. Bank transactions over $10,000 trigger automatic federal reporting. Daniel knew that too. He'd learned it from me. I closed the laptop. Opened my notebook to a fresh page. Wrote the date. Wrote the balance. Wrote the words, call lawyer tomorrow. Then I called my friend Russell, a retired detective. Don't confront him yet, Russell said immediately. Don't let him know you've seen it. Can you get me the account number those transfers went to? I read it to him from the screen. Give me 24 hours. Russell called back the next morning. The account belongs to a Daniel Whitfield. He paused. Your son opened it 4 months ago. 3 weeks before your stroke. 3 weeks before my stroke. He planned this, I said. It looks that way. The account was opened, then sat empty until you got sick and gave him access. I sat with that for a long moment. My son had seen my stroke coming, or hadn't waited to find out if one would come, and had already prepared the account to receive my money. Or he'd been waiting for any opportunity. Any reason I might need help. What are my options? I asked Russell. Financial elder abuse is a felony in this state. You have documented proof Your notebook plus the bank records. The question is whether you want to go to the police or handle it civilly first. What would you do? I'd go to the police, he said without hesitation. Civil suits take years, and he can hide money. Criminal charges freeze assets immediately. I thought about Daniel's wife. My grandchildren, ages 7 and 9. Then I thought about 41 years of early mornings. Of the $240,000, I'd saved one careful deposit at a time. Set up a meeting with a detective, I said. I'll bring the notebook. Detective Maria Okonkwo specialized in financial crimes against the elderly. She reviewed my notebook for 20 minutes without speaking. When she looked up, her expression was grim but certain. Mr. Whitfield, this is the most comprehensive personal financial record I've ever seen in a case like this. You've essentially done half my job for me. 41 years of habit, I said. It's going to matter enormously. She tapped the notebook. Defense attorneys love to claim confusion. That the victim misremembered. That transactions were authorized. Your notebook eliminates every single one of those arguments. She contacted Daniel the following week. Asked him to come in for a conversation. He came in without a lawyer. Confident. When she showed him the bank records, he said I'd authorized every transfer. She slid my notebook across the table. Your father recorded every transaction in his accounts for 41 years. The last entry before his stroke shows a balance of $263,000. Can you explain how that became $41,000 in 8 weeks? Daniel looked at the notebook for a long time. I want a lawyer, he finally said. That's your right, Detective Okonkwo said. But I want you to understand something before you go. We have the bank records. We have the notebook. We have the account you opened 3 weeks before your father's stroke. Whatever your attorney tells you, the evidence here is overwhelming. Daniel was arrested 2 days later, charged with financial elder abuse, theft, and fraud. The case took 11 months. Daniel's lawyer tried everything. He claimed I had dementia and had authorized the transfers without remembering. My doctor testified I was cognitively sharp before, during, and after my stroke. He claimed Daniel was managing my finances as agreed, and the money was being held for me. Detective Okonkwo presented the account statements showing the money had been spent. New furniture, a boat. Private school tuition, paid 18 months in advance. He claimed my notebook was inaccurate, fabricated after the fact. The prosecution brought in a forensic documents examiner. The ink, the paper aging, the pen pressure patterns all consistent with entries made over decades, not weeks. Impossible to fake. The notebook that Daniel never knew existed became the centerpiece of the prosecution's case. 41 years of careful record-keeping. Entries made every single month since 1985. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced Daniel to 5 years in prison. Full restitution of $222,000. Mandatory financial crime, counseling upon release. The defendant exploited his father's medical vulnerability with premeditation and calculation, the judge said at sentencing. This was not a moment of weakness. This was a plan. The victim's meticulous record-keeping is the only reason we are here today with this evidence. Daniel looked at me from the defendant's table. I looked back. I didn't look away first. I got most of the money back. Restitution payments come every month now, garnished from Daniel's prison work account and eventually from his wages when he's released. It will take years. But it comes. My grandchildren's mother, Daniel's wife, brings them to see me twice a month. She divorced him after the verdict. I don't blame her. The kids don't fully understand what happened. They know Grandpa and Daddy had a disagreement. Someday they'll be old enough to know the truth. I'll let their mother decide when. People ask me if I'm angry. I tell them no. Anger is for people who were surprised. I wasn't surprised. Not really. I'd noticed the small signs for years. The entitlement. The resentment when I wouldn't give him money for things I thought were foolish. The way he looked at my house and my savings like they were already his. I just never thought he'd act on it. The notebook wasn't about distrust. It was just who I am. An engineer. A man who believes in documentation. In precision. In keeping records because you never know when they'll matter. Turns out they mattered more than anything I ever built in 40 years of engineering. My son saw a sick old man and an opportunity. What he didn't see was the notebook on the shelf behind me. The one I'd been keeping since before he was born. He thought he knew everything about me. He didn't know the most important thing. I never stopped paying attention.